Hey there and hello guys, welcome to this episode of Short History Of, which will be about one of the most popular festivals in the entire world. And yes, I'm talking about the Oktoberfest, of course. Within the last decades, Oktoberfests started to be celebrated all over the world, all over Europe. Also in Germany, you can find many versions of it, so you probably heard about it. Today we associate it with Lederhosen, Dirndle, also with beer, and maybe brass band music, you know, this heavy music. Can you imagine that it actually all started with a royal wedding? No? I think we need to look into that. In this period of the year, we would have celebrated the Oktoberfest. Sadly, this year in 2020, the Oktoberfest got cancelled due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and its restrictions. That's sad, but logical. While waiting for the next year's Oktoberfest, I have some spare time to make this video. Let's start today with a short quiz. Are you ready? So, in what German city is the Oktoberfest celebrated? Is it A, Berlin? Is it B, Cologne? Or is it C, Munich? Yes, it's Munich. And the last final question. For what reason has it been celebrated originally? A, to cherish the high importance of beer all over the world. B, because to celebrate Napoleon's defeat. Or C, because the crown heir of Bavaria got married. What do you think? Yeah, C. It all started with a wedding. I am dying to tell you that story. And let's travel back in time to the year 1810. For your understanding, back then Germany didn't exist at all. We are currently in the kingdom of Bavaria. Crown Prince Ludwig, so the next king to be, married Therese of Saxe-Hildburghausen, Therese von Sachsen-Hildburghausen. Originally, the wedding celebrations lasted for multiple days, not just one day. Especially royal weddings lasted a little longer than just one day. While they officially got married on the 12th of October, the inhabitants of Munich were invited to attend to a horse race outside of the city on the 17th of October at fields which were named after the bride, Therese, or in German Theresa. They are called Theresienwiesen, and they are still named like that today. But the locals of Munich like to shorten that because it's actually, this is very, very classic German word, very long. They just say Wiesen. And that's the end. Finally done. But wait, so many questions. I can't really stop here. So where have the horses gone and where did the beer come from? So we are in 1810. The wedding has been celebrated, right? And then the next year, they started to celebrate it again. Why? It must have been a great party, right? Obviously. But then it was also a good aim for representation of the royals, so it's actually fostering the monarchy. But how did the story continue? In between 811 and 818, the Oktoberfest has been celebrated together with a central agricultural fair, which has been financially supported by the city of Munich. So that's how the city of Munich, the host of today's Oktoberfest, got involved in all of that. Only 9 years after the royal wedding, the city of Munich was in charge of the organization and the finances, the budget of the Oktoberfest. And in 1824, 5 years later, they have already bought the property, the fields on which the Oktoberfest took place. So if the city invests in that field to guarantee that the festival continuously can be celebrated, it's actually a hint that the Oktoberfest has been very important to the people back then. And so they continue to celebrate it year after year. Well, we should rather say almost every year. It has been cancelled for 24 times officially in 1853 and in 1873. The Oktoberfest has been cancelled twice because there were cholera epidemics which unsettled the city center. So in order to make sure that the cholera didn't spread any further, the Oktoberfest has been cancelled. Oops. In the end of the 19th century, the Oktoberfest finally reached today's standards. And finally, we are getting to the beer. Prost! In 1880, the city allowed the disposal of beer. In 1900, massive tents were set up, which were called Bierhallen, so beer halls, and they were all named after local breweries. These tents were equipped with lots of tables and benches to sit on, so you can have a great time while you drink one beer after the other. Some of them offered places to sit for 12,000 people. That's even bigger than today. The biggest beer tent or the biggest beer hall today only offers 10,000 places to sit. In 1949, people had a reason to be very excited again, as I am now, because the Oktoberfest finally returned. In these years, some crucial factors of today's Oktoberfest have been introduced. So the first one, there were no further horse races. The second one, in 1950, the mayor of Munich has opened a big barrel of beer, which became a new tradition. It's called Anzapfen. I'm so sorry for the absence of my Bavarian dialect, but I'm not Bavarian, I don't have one. The Anzapfen takes place on every first Saturday at 12 a.m. So this moment became the official opening of the Oktoberfest. And since the city of Munich and the major are kind of the hosts of the event, obviously. Number 3, the Oktoberfest has gotten its international reputation. And point number 4, innovation and tradition at the same time. Still, the most innovative fun rides are still present on the Oktoberfest, where we have lots of traditions at the same time. Also, the festival was commercialized a lot during the last decades. And it's really worth it. You want to hear some numbers? During the Oktoberfest, 6 to 7 million people traveled to Munich. That is massive. Altogether, they consume 7 million liters of beer. That's a lot. A liter of beer on the Oktoberfest costs about 11 euros, which is more or less about 13 US dollars. In 2002, it only has cost 6 euros. More and more foreign tourists from all over the world conquer the festival. Especially people from Italia, the US, Australia and Japan. All in all, the Wiesn, you remember that one, have a turnover of 1.2 billion euros. Brass band music is only allowed to be played until 6 p.m. and it's not allowed to be louder than 85 decibel. That's supposed to make the festival more attractive to families, but from my point of view, that's such a German thing. That's a very German stereotype, so psst, don't be too loud. Psst. So I guess all that's left to say today is Prost, cheers. If you don't want to miss any further videos on German culture and its history. And see you soon. Prost!